everybody, it's Christy with Christy's Beautiful Life, and it's Thursday, which means there's another episode of Lifted Up. So this week we have taken our inspiration from Craft and Kate on YouTube, and I love her style. It's very not simplistic and like there's not a lot to it, but it's very clean, and I love that. So the first thing I did was I used some really old mists that I had. They're from Recollections, and I showed you doing the yellow, but I used yellow, teal, and pink to help tie in all the colors I decided to use. And you see me tying everything in with yellow. So what I did was the pieces you see me cutting into triangles right now, my photo is backed with that paper, and then the pattern paper that my photo is on is that raindrop, teal kind of raindrop paper that is also backed with the yellow. So there's hints of yellow everywhere in the page, and a couple of the hearts on the bigger piece of pattern paper also has yellow. And then in Kate's layout, she had these really cool corner pieces, and I loved the way that looked, so I kind of took that on as well. I did flip my pattern paper over to see if I wanted to use the other side. I don't end up using that though. I keep it at the yellow. So this picture is just a picture taken when I went to visit a friend in Arizona, and all my journaling I didn't keep that in. I figured it'd be boring to watch me write. But what it's talking about is how I grew up where there's lots of trees and there's mountains and there's always things to protect us. And so when I got to Arizona, I felt so vulnerable and like I felt like I needed to go somewhere and just hide. It was crazy. And I don't know why I didn't think of that. Like, I'm well aware that Arizona is mostly desert, and I don't know, it was crazy, but we were driving on the freeway and I just was freaking out. It was crazy. So, needless to say, I was very happy to get home to all of my mountains and trees and protection. So that's kind of what this layout is all about. And I am calling it Not a Desert Rose. I thought it was kind of a neat title, so that's what the title will be called, but I'll get to that in a moment. First, what you're seeing me do is I had some old, this is like tissue paper for like stringing banners and stuff for like birthday parties. I've had this since my friend got married, which is almost 2 years ago. So I've had this for a long time, and it's in a really bright pink. So considering Jackson's a boy, I don't use it very often. So I try to use it whenever I can. But I am going to put that underneath my photo, and you're just going to see me. I had already used a little bit of washi to hold it together, and you're just going to see me cut it in half, because otherwise it was a little too big and wasn't going to fit correctly. And at first I think about just tucking it completely under my photo, but I think in the end I end up leaving it, maybe I do leave it there. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I played a couple places to see where I wanted it, if I wanted it there or underneath the teal pattern paper, and I actually don't remember where it goes. I think maybe there. I know I'm playing around with it. And I tried to see if I could put that anywhere else as well, but it doesn't. I just used that one little piece anymore, and I think it would have been too much. So there's that, and now I'm going to start doing all of my embellishments and my title. So there's my title, and I add the date at the top as well. This picture was taken in 2010, so 5 years ago. I cannot believe that that was 5 years ago. And I used 3 different style of thickers, and I cannot name them off to you whatsoever. I have no idea. But one of them is in a teal, one of them is in, it's a white font with a pink line through it, and then the other one are the yellow, big yellow ones. And I loved it because the yellow kind of reminded me of the desert with the way it looked. So that's why I chose those. I also add an overlay that I had, and I was debating on which ones I wanted to use. I really wanted to use the one that you saw that said Wander, but I wanted it, the way I like to place things is the opposite of the way it was going, and my purse was just so colorful you couldn't see it. So I ended up using this other one that is kind of like if you were taking a photo and looking on your camera lens back at the photo. I think that's kind of what it reminds me of. I also add a few tabs. One of them just says notes, and then I stamped the date on the other one because this happened in March. I add a few embellishments. I tried to staple my transparency there and it looks horrible. If you look up close, you can tell I made a big mistake. I don't have an actual tiny attacher like a real one. I have like a dollar store stapler and it's horrible. So I really need to step up and just buy a real stapler for my mini staples that works well. You do see me add this little banner, and I added that because in Kate's layout, she added this really pretty piece of pattern paper right below her photo, and I loved the way that that looks, so that was my take on adding something below the photo besides just adding the tissue paper that I added in the pink. You saw me add a frame as well, and you can't, I don't think you can read it, but on it it says hello, and then I added one of the, they're Maggie Holmes or Dear Lizzie pennants. I add one of those, a couple bows, a little geotag with a heart in it, and the last thing I add is just a little brad, and it's got kind of the same color as the base pattern papers of that really darker pink one. It's kind of like that as well, and then but it's on a white, it's backed on white, so it's really cool. I like that. And that's my layout, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.